Hi everyone, it's Sandybstitcher here, Sandybakos, and I am here to do a Flosstube update. And depending on the length of my cross-stitching update, which shouldn't take very long, I may add my book review onto the same video. You will know, but I'm going to decide kind of as I go along here, so we'll see what happens. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. It's Saturday, June 1st. I find it so hard to believe that we're already in June. I mean, how did that happen? We are still getting a lot of rainy weather, but we had a beautiful day yesterday. And had a couple of good things happen this week. Last Tuesday evening, I got together with my daughter and all three of my granddaughters, and we celebrated the oldest one's 22nd birthday. Her birthday had been in May on the 24th, and so she was home from her job down at the college for Memorial Day weekend. So we celebrated her birthday at Olive Garden, and had a nice visit. And then let's see, my husband had an appointment with the neurologist for his Parkinson's, and everything went well with that. The doctor gave him some tips regarding his speech and also regarding his falling down. So now I just have to keep reminding him to use those tips. But hopefully that will help out here in the long run. And then yesterday, my brother Chuck and my sister-in-law Lori, we got together and we went to the new Golden Corral in Sandusky. It's a restaurant that used to be Orion's that closed, and they revamped it and turned it into a Golden Corral. And it's just, it's an awesome, beautiful buffet restaurant. So we went there. And I guess that's about all that's been going on. I haven't stitched on a lot of things, but I kind of got carried away on one. And I will show you that in just a moment. So as I started my welcome to all the new subscribers, the old subscribers, everyone, anybody who just stops in just to see me. I appreciate having all of you here and watching my video, so thanks so much. Let's show you my stitching. I can't remember whether I showed you this last time or that I told you I was getting ready to start it, but not started, but go back to working on it. But this is the silent sampler. I keep wanting to put the in front of it, but it's just silent sampler. And this is Rosewood Manor. And this is where I got to with it. And mostly I worked down in this area here. I think I had this part in, but I did all of this below that. And then I went up and just did this right in here. I had the bee and I had part of this flower, but I did the rest of it in the C. And then I put that away. I worked on that I think 3 different days. And then I picked up Shades of Summer, and then I couldn't put it down again. Shades of Summer is Artisy. This is a very large one. It is 300 wide by 234 high. And I just kind of got carried away. So, let me show you. Of course, this has a lot of, confetti. So, that takes up a lot of stitching time where you don't make great strides in progress, but you do put a lot of stitches in. I'm going to hold it all the way back for you first. Oh, crap. gosh. Hang on a sec. I just knocked some Q-snaps down, almost knocked a whole box of floss down. But I've got this set up so I have to back up more, and I forgot that was sticking out back there. So, oh well. All right, there it is. I'm going to bring it in a little closer. I know it's hard to try to get it in that small screen because I'm using the tablet, but there it is. And where I was working, if I can bring this here so you can see, I've been working mostly right in here. And I got down, this is pretty much the bottom of that page. I hope you can still hear my voice when I'm covering up my mouth here. But I had a lot of fill in here, and you know, you can tell by looking that it's a lot of confetti. So I just kept stitching all up in here. I moved the Q-snap a couple of different times. And this is the rest of that page over here. I would have liked to have said I had a page finished, but not going to happen. It's just, it's too much confetti. And I have the, if I reach down here and pick it up where I dropped it, it knocked on the floor. This, I'm going to quickly show you. This is the page I'm working on, so you can see all of this in here, a lot of confetti. And I was working down into the next page. So, it just takes time, but I got carried away with it, and I just kept picking it up. And I did get another project out to start working on. I spun the wheel, and it came up, God's Love, and I got it out, but I never picked it up. I just kept picking up Shades of Summer over and over. So as long as I was enjoying it, I kept stitching on it. So I think that today I may pick up the other one and start doing some work on that. But that's all I did for cross stitch. I will give away the charts, and let's see, where is my, boy, I'm dropping things right and left. I'm going to have to pick things up like crazy when I'm done here. Let's see, the sampler. Quite a few people, excuse me, quite a few people were interested in this, and Pixie Stitch, you will have the sampler coming to you. And Tally Ho, let's see, Tally Ho, Verpr, this will be coming to you. And I believe I have addresses for everybody for the charts for this time. And then Mother, this one goes to Vicki Pickstock. She was the only one who requested this. So, Vicki, this one will come to you. And I have your one that you had won previously. I hung on to it just in case you would get this. And so I'll get that mailed out. All right, that takes care of the old charts. And as I said, I have all the addresses, so we don't need to worry about that. Now, some new charts. Okay. I have this angel, and this says be an earth angel, and that's all there is with this one. And so earth angel, so if you are interested in this one, please say that you would like to stitch the angel. Things are too many things here. Okay, this next one, oh, I have an ant crawling here. We have had so much rain. It's like there's no place for this rain to go anymore. And all right, looks like there's a couple of charts with this one. So the first one is a little sampler. It's a friendship sampler. And then also the chart is here for this. They have this done as a little petite pillow. And see, there's the chart for that. And these are just the charts, but there's some charts for some flowers there. And let's see if there's anything else. There's these desert style little border like things. So if you are interested, get this back together the way it's supposed to be. If you're interested in this, just say you'd like to stitch, we'll call it Friends, since it's a friendship sampler. The next one is some teddy bears, and we have Goodnight Bear and Good Morning Bear, and the charts for both of those, and that's it. So let me show those to you. Here is Good Night Bear. Try to get the glare. Good Night Bear. And here is Good Morning Bear. Those are kind of cute. All right, if you're interested in those, tell me you'd like to stitch the bears. Okay, so I think that's all I have for cross stitch for this time. I'm going to, let's see, we're at 12 minutes. I think I'm going to go ahead and add my book review on so that I don't have to upload 2 videos. So if you are only here for the stitching and you're not interested in the book review, then I will say hugs and love to all of you, and I will see you next week sometime. And if you're here for the books, let me move right along into that. All right, I had to return a couple of the books to the library, so what I did was I took a picture of the front covers, and let me find them here. And all right, the first one is a fiction book, and it's called The Boy by Tammy, and I would assume that's pronounced Hogue. Not sure, but this was a good book. I gave this book a 5, and this was a book that was outside of my normal reading comfort zone. It was kind of a murder mystery, and the book starts off that a woman is running for her life. She has no shoes on. She's she's crying, she's bloodied, she's trying to get someone to open their door to help her. It's the middle of the night. And when she finally gets someone to help her, and they go back to where she lives, they find her little boy, who I believe was 7 years old. I've read a couple of books since I read this one. They find him, he's been stabbed to death, and not just stabbed, but he has been brutally stabbed to death. And then they start the trying to figure out, did she kill the little boy? It just goes on. It's very, very a lot of fingers point at her, but then again, they don't. And then his babysitter, who is only 12 years old, turns up missing shortly after, and it just goes on from there. And so it was really kind of thrilling. I kept wanting to keep reading it. And I don't usually read books with murder and stuff like that, but I said I'm trying to go out of my comfort zone, and I really did, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It is really good, and when you get to the ending, I don't want to give anything away, but It's not anything that you think all the way through the book. Let's just put it that way. Um, Very, very good. It's a new book, and it's called The Boy by Tammy Hogue, and I will put it below. Okay, the next one that I read was a biography, and let me get that one here. And it was called Racing to the Finish by Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I used to watch NASCAR all the time, and almost every week. And then I kind of got away from it. And the more I stitched, the less I watched, but I do occasionally watch a race. And I had followed Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I knew that he had retired, and so I read the book, and it was a very enjoyable read. Very easy reading. It just held my interest. I gave it a 4. When he was racing, I never realized just how many concussions that he had had, and it was really interesting. Most of the book is about his journey with those concussions, and how at the beginning, when he first got them from the wrecks he was in, he hid his symptoms for a long, long time so he could keep racing, because he was afraid they would pull him. And it's all on his a lot of stuff to do with his life, but also to do with the journey that he went on to heal, and how eventually he retired. And he's only in his 40s. And so it was, I enjoyed it. It was a good read. If you like anything about racing cars, or anything about NASCAR, or, following people, you would like this book. So I would highly recommend it. Okay, now the next book I still have. I need to take it back to the library. And this is another kind of like a biography. This is called The Light Years, and it's by Chris Rush. And don't ask me why I picked this book up, because I have no idea who Chris Rush is. But I read it, and it was quite interesting. Chris Rush, show you, this is Chris Rush, and he is a award-winning artist and designer whose work is held in various museum collections, and The Light Years was his first book. Chris Rush is a gay man, and this book takes place mostly during the throughout the 1960s. And that may have been why, when I picked it up and I looked at the cover information, I forget what you call that, I saw 1960s, and I was a teenager in the 1960s. Now, he was a child during the 1960s. So, and he grew up in a very affluent family, where, they didn't have much supervision. And I grew up in the opposite, a very poor family, and strict father. Although there were many times we didn't have a whole heck of a lot of supervision, but we lived in the country, and I kind of was responsible for watching over my brothers because my parents both worked. And maybe it was because I was more a child in the 50s and a teenager in the 60s that there's the difference. But this book is, and he had lots of brothers and sisters, older and younger. And the drug usage became very rampant in certain areas, not where I lived in the 60s, but where he was at. And he was introduced to acid at the age of 12 through his older sister, her boyfriend or something. But anyways, And his father hated him. That's the gist of what you get. He didn't accept the fact that he was different, that he was gay. I enjoyed this book. I really hadn't thought about a number. I'm going to say between a 3.5 and a 4. The book read well. I read it very quickly. It's just that I couldn't relate to all the drug usage. And I had a hard time relating with the fact that the parents were so just not there. They wanted to live their lives, and the kids just go do what you're going to do. They let this kid go clear across the country when he was only 16 years old or younger, with other people. I mean, they just, in my mind, they weren't good parents. So that's where I had problems with it. Not with him, not with anything that he wrote in the book. That was just kind of, that's not good parenting. So that's all I can say about that. But I would recommend it. I mean, it gave me a different perspective of the 1960s in a area of more population and a different lifestyle and culture and stuff than what I grew up in. Okay, the next book I'm still reading, but I thought I'd kind of tell you about it because I can pretty much, I'm about 2/3 of the way through it, and I can pretty much tell you what I feel about the book. It's called The Narrative of the Navarrese Expedition, and it's written by Cabeza de Vaca. And this book, I worked for a company called R.R. Donnelley. That's where I retired from, and they were printers. And different R.R. Donnelley locations printed different things. And over the years, R.R. Donnelley bought different companies and absorbed them into the larger. That was how I became part of R.R. Donnelley. I started out working for a company owned by a single owner, and then that was purchased by another company, and then that company merged with another company, and then R.R. Donnelley came in and bought the merged company. So R.R. Donnelley owns, as part of their umbrella, they own something called the Lakeside Press. And I don't know whether you can see this or not, but on the front of this book, it says R.R. Donnelley and Sons, and then it says the Lakeside Press. And this is gold embossed. And what R.R. Donnelley did was, way back in the early 1900s, it was a, I don't know what to call it, companies gave out gifts to their large customers at Christmas time. And so R.R. Donnelley came up with the idea. They wanted something super special, not just something that, everybody gave out, like pins or notebooks or whatever. They wanted to give something to their large customers that was special. So they started taking what they considered classic books and printing them in this original one was green cloth, the cover. Now this is still green. I don't know if you can see that color. It's a dark green. And everything is gold embossed on it. And that was what they did. They embossed it with gold and to make it very special. And then what they did was they started giving these out at some point to employees. And like for the facility I worked at, a box of these books would show up and they'd put it out, and sometimes you'd be able to get a book and sometimes you wouldn't. I got quite a few of these. And I've never read any of them. And they all came wrapped with cellophane so that you could keep them wrapped up if you never wanted to read them. But I've opened some of them, and I decided to start trying to read these. And that was where I read the whole story about how the original came about. And so these are not just books that you would run out and buy. And they have some pictures in them. And so this one it's a narrative. And it takes place, and this particular book was published in December of 2013. So this is the one that was put out for Christmas of 2013. And they have a publisher's preface in here. And they have been, here it is. It says, "We believe that the Lakeside Classics comprise the longest continuously published series of its kind. For a complete list of volumes since 1903, please visit www.rrdonnelly.com and select About Us, then Lakeside Classics." So they've been doing this since 1903. And this particular story is about the exploration of Spain, coming across and going to Cuba and then to Florida. And it's kind of interesting. It's because it's a narrative. This is what was originally written down by the people that went back to Spain and gave their information to the king. So some of the writing is a little bit different because they spoke differently back then, plus the fact that this was translated. But it's interesting. There's pictures in here that they drew at the time that they were traveling through Florida and stuff, of the Indians and everything. And it's kind of enjoyable. I don't know if these books are out there available for purchase. I have no clue. I was going to stop and see if I could find that anywhere, and I forgot to. But maybe at some point in the future I will do that and let you all know, just in case anybody might be interested in it. But there we go. I'm going to give that book a 3. And I think that's it. I tried to catch up on a few more magazines, and that's about where I'm at. So I am going to let you all go. Sending out my hugs to everybody, sending out my love to everybody. Lori is doing okay. She's still on, she probably will be now for the rest of her life. She's on oxygen 24/7. We had a little bit of an exciting moment yesterday when we were out. She had decided she wanted to go to this discount store, and we went over there, and her battery on her oxygen pack ran out, and she went out to the car to get the other battery, but she had it plugged in my car, but it apparently wasn't charging, and for some reason, I don't know, but she did have an extra tank, and so we had to pull over and go in the back of the vehicle and get the tank out and get her hooked up and change her over to that. And so that was a little bit of an exciting moment. So I just sat there and waited until she was all ready, and then said, "Okay, is everything all right now? You ready to go?" And she was like, "Yeah, okay." But she starts to panic when that oxygen stops, and she starts feeling like she's not going to be able to breathe. So it was a little bit of a panicky moment. And as far as Olivia goes, for anybody who doesn't know, Lori is my sister-in-law, married to my brother Chuck. Olivia is my great niece. She is Chuck's granddaughter. She has leukemia, and she's been doing a lot better from what I understand. She did go back to school, and so when I don't hear anything and my brother doesn't have any updates, then I figure that everything must be going okay. So, let you guys go. Have a wonderful weekend, or whenever it is you're watching this, have a wonderful whatever. And I will see you again next week and hope that we get some more sunshiny days. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.